Welcome to the Tea of Life podcast. My mission is to transform every area of life by encouraging and equipping you to live the life you love and love the life you live. I am your host, Tiffany Thompson. Hey guys, and thank you for listening to Tea of Life podcast. I am so glad that you are here. I have been running some errands today. We're actually getting ready for my son's Eagle Scout Court of Honor. He actually made Eagle Scout in January of 2022, and because I am apparently very good at procrastinating these celebrations, we have waited until January of 2023 to actually take care of this ceremony. So I've been kind of driving around and running some errands today, and being outside in the sunshine. It's very sunny here today. It's still about 44 degrees where we are, but it feels so good to have this heat just kind of pounding on my skin. I'm absolutely loving it. And just by myself in the car just gives me a little time to think and kind of relax a little bit. And I've been thinking about the podcast or the episode that I released last week. And I want to thank you guys so much for all the amazing support that you have given me over releasing that episode. I have received countless messages, and I just want to say thank you. And love you guys. And I think that there are probably a lot of you guys out there who maybe feel some of the things that I was feeling, that I was talking about, and maybe that has to do with fear. So I was thinking today, what is stopping you from stepping out into the place where God is calling you? Just because He is calling us into a certain area doesn't mean it's going to be easy to get there. And it can be kind of a scary journey getting to that place. But a lot of times He calls us out of our comfort zone. And I'm wondering, what is He calling you into that you have been maybe putting on the back burner, that you've been ignoring, that you've been saying, procrastinating getting to, and thinking, I'll get to that later. And then obviously, and then suddenly a year has passed, or 2 years or 3 years or more, and you still have not gotten to that point to where God has been calling you. You've not stepped into that. You've not moved into that direction. Maybe you have done a few things moving into that direction. Maybe you haven't done anything to move in that direction, but you know that God is calling you into an area and asking you to do something that may be stretching you, making you uncomfortable. You may be afraid because of the implications, like I talked about in my last episode. But I just want to encourage you today to step into whatever it is that God is calling you to do. If there are implications to that, God has already got that covered. He's got it for you. He knows what hangs in the balance of your future. He knows what hangs in the balance of doing the very thing that God is calling you to do. And that is something that my husband and I consistently talk about with each other. And with our sailboat, at one point we were calling our sailboat Balance because that was the one thing that we purchased, because we knew that that was something that God was calling us into, which ended up changing our son's life, like just completely changing who he was and his confidence, and just kind of introduced him into a different area of his life, and it has been absolutely amazing. And so we consistently go back to that. What hangs in the balance of doing the very thing that God is calling you to do? So I want to ask you, what is hanging in the balance? What implications are you afraid of that has caused you to not move forward into what it is that God has for you? What is it? What is the first thing that pops in your mind? And what is the fear that is holding you back from that? So I just want to encourage you today to maybe seek what it is. If you don't know, seek what it is that God's calling you to do. Seek why you haven't done that. And I also want to encourage you to make a small step toward that. You don't have to complete it today. You don't have to complete it within 24 hours. Just make one small step. What is it? So this is an area that obviously needs to be transformed. And in this podcast, we talk about transforming every area of life. So this is transforming your mind, maybe transforming your spirit, transforming your attitude. It could be transforming a routine, something that you do. Could be transforming a routine of something that you shouldn't be doing. But what is that step that you need to take in order to move forward in doing the very thing that God is calling you to do? Back in 2017, when my husband and I purchased our sailboat, I mentioned that a little bit ago, and I mentioned how it changed my son's life. And my husband grew up sailing. I was not a sailor. I loved having my feet on solid ground. I grew up hiking, spending time in the woods. I grew up on four-wheelers and dirt bikes and not many boats at all. And so buying a sailboat was not something that was on my agenda. In fact, when he was looking for one, I thought, okay, this could be kind of fun, but I had no desire to be out on the water, had no desire to be on a sailboat or anything else at all. And so I really felt like God was actually telling me it was okay. And he was kind of nudging us in that direction. And it may sound silly that God was nudging us into a direction of buying a sailboat, but we were really wanting to do some more adventurous stuff with our kids. And, I also grew up RVing, so I automatically thought that we would just, buy the RV, and that's what we would do. And he wanted the sailboat. And so we searched and searched and searched for a sailboat within our price range and something that we knew that we would be able to sail on as a family. And so we finally found it and made that purchase. And I can't say that I'm absolutely in love with sailing, even still to this day. It's fun. I enjoy it. There are some days where I'm like, oh man, today would be a really great day to be out on the water. But I can't say that I'm absolutely in love with it now. But what I can tell you is that I'm absolutely in love with the results of what buying that sailboat did for our family. Now, purchasing it, we ended up having to keep it in the water, which means we had to pay additional docking fees every month for having this boat in the water. So there was like ongoing expenses. There were things that we had to buy for it and repair. And, so just like with any boat. But our son, our first son, he had developed a stutter and was unable to speak very well. And he had figured out ways of kind of overcoming that on his own. We did speech therapy. We had testing done. We had all kinds of stuff. And nobody could ever figure out what was causing him to not be able to speak. And he would just try to talk, but it was like his vocal cords would just kind of freeze up. And he would have to blow out some air in order for him to be able to start talking. And then he would be able to, continue talking at that point. And so through everything, we were not able to figure out what was going on, but we really felt like God was pushing us in the direction to buy a sailboat. Now, you're probably asking, how is that related? Because I did not think of the results that was going to happen with us buying a sailboat. But because of that, it opened up a door where we were able to actually find out about and get him into a local organization called Sea Scouts. And it's a organization under Boy Scouts of America, but they do all their activities on water. It's water-based activities. And so we got him into that organization as well. And so being on our sailboat and being in this organization where we actually used our sailboat actually ended up being life-changing for him. And now he is the most confident leader who doesn't stutter at all, who absolutely loves being on the water, who absolutely loves sailing, who actually had difficulty even learning how to swim when he was younger, and now loves being on the water. And he had talked about owning his own sailing school at one point. I'm not really sure if that will happen. It may eventually. I mean, he has the rest of his life to figure that out and to do that. But that is one thing that was life-changing. And so when we felt like God was kind of leading us in that direction, and I thought, a sailboat, really? We're really going to buy a sailboat? Like, that's not anywhere. I'm not familiar with that. But I really felt like God was saying, it's okay, and you need to do it. And we did it, and it was absolutely life-changing. So one of the things that I also weigh my feelings or my God call or the prompting of the Holy Spirit telling me certain things or to go in certain directions is I know that I have a choice. Okay, I can choose to go or I can choose to not go. Going is not going to make God love me anymore, and not going is not going to make him love me any less. He loves me no matter what choices I make. He loves me the same. Now, I know that he knows he has things that he wants for me, and he has desires for me, just like I have desires for myself and you have desires for yourself. So he prompts me to go in a direction that he wants for me. You know, it says that delight ourselves in the Lord, and he will give us the desires of our heart. Well, those desires of our heart are not what we desire. He gives us the desires that our heart has. So he gives us the desires of our heart, meaning he puts the desires in our heart, and those become our heart's desires. So one of the things that I do is I kind of weigh, well, what if I do or what if I don't? Well, what if I do buy a sailboat? What if I do start this YouTube channel that I feel like I've been wanting, or I've been prompted to start? Or what if I do start sharing my story? What if I do? Okay, well, I think there's a lot of lives that can be changed if I do that. There's a lot of people that can be touched. There's a lot of people that can be inspired. It can help people, transform areas of their life. And what if I don't? Well, if I don't, then I'm not doing any of those things. I'm still living my life. I'm still fulfilled in Jesus. God still loves me the same. But those other things aren't happening. Now, they can happen in other avenues. So if I decide to not go in that avenue and I decide to not go long enough, then maybe God can redirect me into a different avenue to do those things. But ultimately, we are all here together. And I'm not talking about, the whole 2020 slogan, we're in this together. No, that's not what I'm talking about. We're in this life together. We are in this love of God together. God loves us all the same. Okay, we are all his children, and we're all in this life together. So what is it that God is inspiring you to do? What if you were to do that? Okay, what if you were to not do that? Now, when I ask myself, what if I would not do that? What if I don't do it? Then I typically get a little bit of a urge or sadness in my heart to say, yeah, not doing it is not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to do it. Now, if I get a joy in my heart for saying, oh yeah, I'm not doing that, then hey, then that's not what I'm supposed to do. But if I get a sadness in my heart of thinking, yeah, I'm not going to do that, then I might need to investigate whatever it is a little more and maybe start traveling in that direction and see where that leads me. And that's what I did last week when I released that last episode. And that's what I want to encourage you to do this week from this episode. So I'm going to leave it right there today. And I want to thank you guys for listening today. I also want to invite you guys over to my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is an extension of this podcast where I am transforming every area of our life. I do a lot of things over there. I do thrifting. I do, shopping. I do gardening. I've done some cleaning. I will be doing some decorating. I will be transforming a lot of areas of our life by doing those things, but also kind of inspiring you guys to do the same thing. But, I feel like when we're in control of all those things that we are put in charge of, then transforming every area of our life becomes a little bit easier. So sometimes it just means getting outside, doing something different. Okay? So I just want to encourage you guys to do that. And Tea of Life Podcast is my YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe here if you have not done that already. Make sure that you subscribe on my YouTube channel and hit that bell so that you're notified every time I drop a new video. So share this podcast with anybody that you know needs to hear it and be encouraged. And leave me a comment. I'd love to chat with you guys. Let me know what's going on in your life. Let me know how God is leading you. And maybe even let us know what you have been procrastinating moving forward in. So thank you for listening today, and I will chat with you guys again very soon. Thank you for listening to the Tea of Life podcast. If you have two friends who need to transform every area of life, tell them about us. Also, right now before you forget, make sure that you hit that subscribe or follow button, and that way you will never miss an episode. Thank you for listening to the Tea of Life podcast, and we'll chat again soon.